This episode of the Pain Education Corner is sponsored by the Comella Foundation. The Comella Foundation is committed to relieving pain naturally using osteopathic healing principles. Here at the Comella Foundation, we envision a world where people achieve their maximum potential by being empowered with knowledge and skills to heal themselves and others. This information is to be used for educational purposes only and not to be construed as medical advice. If you have any questions or concerns, please consult a licensed healthcare professional. Hello, it's Bill, the knee pain guru, and welcome to the Pain Education Podcast brought to you by the Comella Foundation. Today we have a special guest from Michigan. Her name is Wendy Brand. Welcome, Wendy. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Bill. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very honored. Thank you.
Cool. Share your story. How'd you get here? Oh, today we're going to talk about getting to the root of pain.
Yeah. And
you're going to help us figure that out.
Yeah. There's a lot to figure out, but it's not as complicated as it might seem.
Cool. So how'd you get here? What's your story? I find everybody that is in some alternative level of healing work has a story, like they got here somehow. So share your story.
Yeah, absolutely. And in my head, alternative is modern medicine. So I'm just gonna, for me, I'll think traditional medicine. And I think that that's where a lot of people might get tripped up. But my story is because of what most people call alternative. Again, like me, it's in my head, it's the opposite. So modern medicine failed us, my family and I. I had cancer and breast disease and Hashimoto's, severe allergies. Our children had severe allergies. Our youngest daughter was sick from ages 2 until she was 8. And they just wanted to keep piling medication after medication after medication. And I thought, well, this just isn't working for us because she's getting sicker all the time. And then our oldest daughter also was sick for 18 months when she was a teenager and missed a year and a half of school because of an unknown mysterious illness that we couldn't, they give her all sorts of different diagnoses, and we couldn't figure these things out. And then my husband had some medical issues, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, different things like that. And so we had a whole host of disorders and diseases and dysfunctions in our body. And we were a young family. So I had tried for a long time to try to, the medical route, the modern medicine route. It didn't work for us. It unfortunately failed us at every turn and cost us many, many, many thousands of dollars to get no answers. And it's good for acute care. It is basically stinks for chronic care is what we found. And so I started studying more and more in the natural health realm, the traditional medicine route, and found some answers, but still couldn't really figure out what was really causing all those problems. So I interestingly enough, I went to a Tony Robbins conference, and it was a 4-day event. And the last day they talked all about health and wellness. And he said, for instance, do any of you suffer from severe allergies? And I'm thinking, ding, ding, that's us. And so I listened very intently, and he gave us a 10-day challenge. I went home and implemented that 10-day challenge. And within those 10 days, we lost a combined total of 27 pounds, got off of 6 of 7 medications, have never returned to them. And within 30 days, got off the 7th final medication. And nice. Our family found health and wellness, true health and wellness. We felt so energetic. And our youngest daughter, who had suffered so much for 6 years, was finally well enough that she didn't wake up with a stomach ache and, dark circles and runny nose, etc., for the first time in 6 years. So we were very, very grateful. And it was because we changed our diet. That was the first thing that we did. Is we looked at the nutrition side of things and said, oh, so that's the biggest part of the problem so far. So we changed that, and it changed our lives. So I started teaching at my home because I thought, well, there's other people and families who are suffering this way as well. So I should tell them what I learned. So I started teaching this out of my home, and then my home got too small for the people. And a neighbor said, well, you can use my kitchen and dining room. So I started teaching nutritional things over there from what we had learned. And then eventually it led to me opening a wellness center, Vibrant Health Wellness Center, because I needed more people, way more than I thought, needed to know this information. And I'd been studying natural health since I was a teenager because of all the problems that I had had. And so I just kept evolving into more and more things and learning more and more. And so I was very grateful to have that information, just the little bit that I got in that one-day seminar.
Nice. Okay. I want to make sure terms are important.
Yes.
So could you go over your definition of traditional, modern, and alternative
Yes.
medicine? So you refer to traditional as
a holistic approach. Yeah. So it's the whole body working together. And that's how medicine used to be done before pharmaceuticals and the modern medicine being 100 or so years old. When they go ahead.
Yeah. So modern medicine, you would refer to as like conventional Western medicine.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And alternative, you're referring to similar to that of traditional or the same? How are you?
To me, alternative to traditional medicine is modern medicine. I consider that the alternative.
Okay. Got it. So modern medicine, your definition is the conventional Western medicine. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. I just want to make sure. So when we're using these terms, that everyone can have a reference point for what we're talking about.
Clarity is good.
Okay. Vibrant Health. You started this wellness center. Your life was transformed as a result of the Tony Robbins seminar and the 10-day challenge that he offered after that. Speak about your training. Was it self-study? Did you go to learning online? Was it in person somewhere? Share about that.
It was all of the above. And like I said, I started studying it when I was 13 because I was sick a lot. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know all of the things that I had going on genetically and other, and that sort of just kind of the way I was born. For instance, I didn't know that ADHD could affect so many areas of your life. But so I started studying just to kind of manage myself. God bless you. I started studying when I was a teenager just to kind of manage the things that I was experiencing and the troubles that I was having and how I could possibly find some solutions to them. And then when I started getting sick, just studying more and more on my own. And then after that 10-day challenge, I started seeking out places that I could go in person to get trained. So one of the places that I went was Hallelujah Acres in Shelby, North Carolina.
Oh.
And
okay, not too far from me.
Yeah, not too far, exactly. And I think they, because everybody called it the Hallelujah Diet, they've changed it now to the Hallelujah Diet instead of Hallelujah Acres. But Reverend George Malcolmus taught me for, I think it was a 4 or 5 day seminar and very intense training. So we went through, a notebook 3 or 4 inches deep of information on how to help people get well naturally through diet and nutrition and prayer, of course. Him being a reverend, that's of course the number one thing that we would focus on. So I took a lot of information from that. I also studied. I started studying with Trinity Naturals, School of Natural Health, and not long into that, I figured it kind of wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I also went to school at a naturopathic institute here locally. And I have life coaching certifications, health coaching certification. I did a 1-year program online and on the phone as a health coach. So a lot of different trainings. I've invested about $300,000 so far to my training. And most of it was because of personal things that I needed to know for myself or my family or my extended family. And then, of course, for my clients. So I wanted to know more and more because there's so many things that are out there. But it all really boiled down to two things causing the dysfunction and dis-eases in our body. And that was toxicity and deficiency. So those are the two areas that I decided to study and focus on the most.
Mm. And that is getting in the direction of what is the root of the pain.
Yes.
So toxicity.
Yes.
And what was the deficiency?
Yes.
And how does it tie in? How does it tie in? How do these 2 points, toxicity and deficiency, tie in with pain?
So toxicity causes inflammation. And of course, inflammation leads to pain. So if you can figure out what the toxins are that are causing this inflammation, which also in turn help stop the body from being able to absorb nutrients properly, then you can start working on eliminating those toxins and bringing in more nutrients. In addition to those two things, you also have to know structurally, as you're aware, what else is going on behind the scenes. So are there some, are there misalignments going on that are stopping the central nervous system from doing its job properly? Is there something that's got your body in a fight, flight, or freeze phase with the autonomic nervous system that can stop the body even from simple things like absorbing water or the nutrients that you're taking in? So you could be doing a lot of great things, but your body doesn't know how to use it because there's some toxicity impinging on or impairing the ability of your body to function properly. So you don't get a lot of results, even though you're doing a lot of great things. And so go ahead.
I hear people that are questioning everything all the time. They're like, I've tried everything. I've done everything. And usually it's got to take a step back and go, okay, not that. And not that.
Right.
So I hear you.
We kind of tried everything that they know of anyway.
Sure.
And then it takes someone else to kind of come in with a different perspective and say, well, if you've got this going on and this going on, then the chances are that there's also this, and this is maybe where you have looked. So it's just kind of digging a little bit deeper under the surface to say, wow, did you know that, for instance, when our 16-year-old started becoming basically unable to walk, she had to crawl to the bathroom. So she lived on the couch by the bathroom for 18 months because she needed, if she needed to get up in the middle of the night, then she would be able to get there faster. So we went through all of the modern medicine or alternative routes, in the modern medicine form. And we didn't get any answers. We had tried everything. And in fact, they had even said, it's all in her head and you need to go see a family therapist. So we went to the family therapist and they said on our second visit, he said, I have one question. Why are you guys here? And so we told him because the doctors at the University of Michigan specialists said that it's all in her head. He said, it's not in her head. There's no reason for you to be here. Y'all are fine. I can't help you. And so then we went back to our naturopath, who we did some more testing, and within 30 minutes found that our daughter's sacrum had been in a freeze phase from falling on ice 3 years previously.
Oh, yeah.
So we did some therapy, some light touch therapy called craniosacral therapy. And with an hour and a half after she received that therapy, she was pain free for 24 hours, and she had been in pain for 18 months, 24/7.
Nice.
And no medication would touch it. So after this therapy, we were unable to open up the central nervous system. So now her body could actually start absorbing water and nutrients so it could do its job properly, eliminating toxins, absorbing nutrients.
Sure. Yeah.
Structural damage that had been done, but nobody else in the modern medicine world knew what to look for.
Yes, I firmly believe the Western medical model or the modern medicine, alternative medicine, has a paradigm that you need to fit in. Like you were saying before, for acute pain, acute situation, something broken or torn, car accident, something very traumatic like that. Absolutely, I want them in my corner. But when that's done, I'm going to go somewhere else to get that help and support because they're woefully inadequate in terms of having any sort of idea of how to support a person or a person's body to healing where they feel normal again.
Yes, absolutely. 100% agree. And all of my clients that come to see me now have generally gone the modern medicine route over and over and over to different specialists, one after the other, all compartmentalizing their expertise and saying, well, it might be this, well, but not looking at the body as a whole because it is all functioning together. And so they come to me kind of as a last ditch effort saying, oh, my friend told me that they saw you and you helped them figure this out. And I was like, great, let's get you in here. Let's see what we can find and ask you a bunch of questions and see if there's anything that shows up as a common thread. And maybe we can find the root cause here. And generally we do. And they go home, they follow the instructions that their body told me to tell them. And they do very well with self-healing, and it's a lot less toxic to their bodies. And generally, we have to do a lot of detoxing from the modern medicine route, but it's their body's able to do it then, and then they start feeling the relief and the pain goes away. They get more energy. Their bowel movements are better. They can sleep better. So they get a lot of side benefits from the traditional ways that we use.
Mm-hmm. You said something there that would be easy to gloss over, but I want to ask you a little bit deeper. When you say their body told you what they needed, tell me more about that, because it gets into this gray area. One of the things we do here at the Comella Foundation is we offer a pain relief portal where we have someone that you could submit an email, and there we have one of our people that work in conjunction with the Comella Foundation that will remote muscle test and send them exactly who I've interviewed that would help them. So I'm curious as to how the person's body communicates with you to tell you what their body needs.
So multiple ways. If you look at someone and their shoulders are off, then you know there's something going on there. If they're walking funny and their gait's different, then you know probably something structurally there. So just the visual looking at them and saying, okay, this is going on. But then also kinesiology. So nutritional kinesiology is what I use. And it is muscle testing. And so I muscle test them to find out, the things that I'm looking for. Is there a scar that's blocking their nervous system, their autonomic nervous system, or a piercing or a tattoo, or if there's an immune challenge? So I'm checking and muscle testing them to see, do you have a parasite or a fungal issue or viral or bacterial? Do you have some stress that's going on that we need to deal with? So there's a lot of different ways. And I also use a system survey that they're answering. So their symptoms are telling me and my computer system that I put the answers into to get the report, what else is going on. So, and that generally correlates with the muscle response or the muscle testing, and the findings that I have versus the findings from the survey or the questionnaire generally coincide. And then the first thing I check is your autonomic nervous system blocked or switched? If it is, it's difficult to find the correct answer without knowing where the blocking or switching is going on and why. So those are the first things that I check. And it's through the muscle testing and visually looking at them, and then the surveys.
Okay, so it's a survey. This is a new client you're taking in. They're taking a survey. You're kind of reading through the survey, and that's where you start in terms of what you gather from the survey, the visual observing of the client, or?
I go over the survey, the systems survey, at the beginning of the second appointment.
Okay.
They'll give me the question, I'll give them the questionnaire. They answer the questionnaire. I go through the muscle testing, and then after they leave, I put their answers into my health system, which sends out the report for me, and then I can correlate the two. But I also do ask questions. Have you had accidents? Have you had injuries? Have you had surgeries? Are you taking medications? And then I also just kind of talk through them. First appointment can take an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes if they're really got a lot going on. And then through all of those things, and then visually them to see. I'm also a licensed massage therapist. And so I can kind of, through the experience of going through the massages and knowing, this person has this pain, maybe if they have sciatic pain, there's likely a lot more going on besides a pinched nerve in the sciatic. What's causing the pinched nerve? And are their hips out of alignment? And are their IT bands really tight? Or their quads or hamstrings? Or, what else is going on in there muscularly that we need to figure out? So I ask a lot of questions. Basically, I'm a detective asking them questions to figure out what kind of really makes sense here. With hope, honestly, come for hope. And so because of, great training and I think the Lord's intuition that he's placed in me, and care and concern for them and experience of myself and my family, just kind of all of that balled together, helps me to help them understand their body better.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Pain Education Corner. If you have a special talent or skill to relieve pain and you'd like to become a guest on our show, visit us at thecomellafoundation.org/interview. Help us spread the word on eliminating pain and suffering in the world. That's thecomellafoundation.org/interview. Yeah, I think that depth of questioning is woefully lacking from your modern medicine approach. I don't see them having the time or having the knowledge. So between those two, we got to look somewhere else. Okay, I got questions for you. And I find this very fascinating. That it's so trendy now, like tattoos and piercings. So many people have them in all sorts of different places, all over their body. And I'm curious as to what connections you've made with the physical pain. Of course, we're assuming that it's healed, like the piercing or the tattoo, there was no infection from it, but just there's an energetic component that I have heard a number of different practitioners talk about. A woman that I knew had something on her foot, this tattoo on her foot, and because it was on her foot, it stopped the flow of energy in some way that was short-circuiting her nervous system, causing a bunch of issues that she was having. Would you talk about that? I find that so cool.
Yeah, it is very interesting. And I didn't know that for the longest time. But when I started learning and looking into it for myself, because my nervous system was blocked and switched, I was doing all the right things for decades, but I was still having issues. And what I learned was that like a piercing or a tattoo, it may look healed. Or another really good example, because I work with a lot of women that have specific challenges, and they may have had an incision for a C-section.
Okay.
And it be a little bit red or irritated even 30 years later. What's happening there, like in that incision, for instance, is the scar tissue is continually doing stuff. So there's an imbalance in the enzymes, the fibrotic enzymes. So it's either too much scar tissue or not enough. And that can disrupt the flow, the energetic flow from one system, one part of the system to another. So the meridians.
So there's like a continuous flow. You think of like a wire. I'm visualizing a wire that got cut, and now you patched it together, and now you're trying to get a clear signal, and it's not hooked up quite right.
It's kind of short-circuiting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My husband's an electrician, so I get the same visual in my head, our heart energy, and then it goes through all of these different pathways. And so as those pathways are, if they're in a functional state, then they, you get a clear path of everything. As far as the connections, the neuron connections from the gut to the brain and the brain to everywhere else, and the nervous system's out. If there's something like, for instance, if you stuck a fork in an electrical socket, that's a problem. You've got some sparks going on there, and it may still work, but it won't function properly. So this is not getting through there. The energy's not channeling properly. Your body acts the same way. So if you stick a needle in there and you start, putting ink, which has heavy metals in it also. So it's another thing I look for is heavy metal and chemical toxicity. If you've got those in there that are blocking that nervous system or switching it, so now the signals are going the opposite direction, a lot of havoc in the body, then you got to know what's doing that. And scar tissue can do that. Even just ear piercing, which isn't the ones I typically find. Sometimes it may be a belly button or a lip or a nose piercing or something. Or the tattoos have a significant interference, and it's not always the size either. Sometimes it could be a small tattoo, on a pretty important spot on your body that is switching your nervous system or something. And so we have to make sure that we test to see which one of those areas is actually causing the blocking or switching in the nervous system.
And you do this through kinesiology. You can zero in on the specific area or where the short circuit is or how the short circuit is going on that is resulting in the pain that they may have, or the digestive issue, or the headaches, or the whatever that is. You could interesting. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the body's amazing, and it's a miraculous self-healing basically, but you got to know what buttons to push and signals to look for, and what are that, what's causing that signal to go off. So like, for instance, I share with people in your car, I point to it because my car's right out there. It says my connection is unstable. Hopefully we're good. But if you have a signal in your car that says, check engine light, and that the problem underlying somewhere, but you don't just clip the signal so that the light goes off and this goes away. You have to actually take it to a mechanic, and they run a scan or a diagnostic on it, and they say, it's set, it's telling me here's what's going on in your car. We just need to fix this, and they're connected. And so it's the same way that, that I do with the kinesiology and the questionnaires and visually, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And I think I'm talking across society. There's this either a Band-Aid we put over it, meaning it's like where we want to numb that signal from our neurology, that it's like drugs, shots, something to kind of numb it, that signal, so we don't feel it, or we ignore it. There's like an ignoring. It's like, did we lock up? I think we locked up.
Yeah.
Are we back yet, Wendy?
Oh, did we? I can see you clearly.
Yeah, I think we're back.
Sure.
I think we're back.
Okay, so it might be on my end, but I'm not. Are we good?
I think so.
Can you hear?
Almost.
Oh, are we back?
Okay. So it's either we're numbing it or we're ignoring it.
Yes.
Like we suck it up, push through the pain. No pain, no gain. Pain is weakness leaving the body. And that, I think there's a time and a place for it. But when that becomes our daily operating level, that it's not sustainable. And I think that's where we need to take a step back and reevaluate strategies to figure out how to move forward.
Yes, absolutely. And that is when it comes down to it, is people get to that last straw, you know, and they're at their breaking point. And that's when they look for traditional medicine to help them. Most people would say alternative, but if we're, you know, if it goes back a long way, so that is the traditional route. So they go back to that and they say, okay, this isn't working for me. What else is available? And so they're looking for other options, and that's when they'll find people like you or people like me.
Mm-hmm.
Actually look for a root cause, because that's not what modern medicine is taught to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the band-aids come in. What are your symptoms? We will put a band-aid on it to make them disappear or temporarily disappear. We'll cut it out. We'll inject you with something or whatever, you know, for
Mm-hmm.
chronic conditions. And as we all know, those don't work.
Right. Right. Okay. I love stories. I love stories of how you worked with clients, and how they changed or transformed. What was their challenge? What was their challenge with pain that you came in, that you figured out the piece that needed to be in place, and then things really changed for them? Do you have any good ones?
Lots and lots of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
So a simple one would be a client comes in, she's complaining of pain in her upper left rib area, lower rib, but in the upper left abdomen area, so by the liver gallbladder. And she goes to the doctors, and they say, you've got a gallbladder issue. We may need to remove it. She calls me and says, hey, Wendy, what, you know, I need to come in. Let's check and see what you can find out before I proceed any further with the route that they're suggesting. So I do some questioning and checking her nutrition. What did you eat over the last couple weeks? Has anything changed with that, with your diet? When did the pain start? You know, those sorts of things. And I do my muscle testing, and turns out she's got some stomach and digestive issues that are going on, relative to some enzymes that are lacking. So I suggest that she take some enzymes, a specific combination of enzymes, and change up her diet, removing some of the acidic foods. And, you know, so I check on her in a couple days, see how she's doing. She's doing great. She doesn't need to have surgery. She's very, very happy and pain-free. And where she had been vomiting and feverish and, you know, a lot of pain in the abdomen. And it's all gone in 2 days.
Huh. Wow. And this was a client you worked with. This was.
Yeah, a client that just came into my office.
Wow. Nice. 2 days, huh?
And so a story on the opposite end of things, where the client came in nearly hopeless, because she had been to dozens and dozens of health professionals, and in the modern medicine route. I think one traditional naturopath or something, who may not have had all the tools that they needed at the time, was able to help her a little bit, but she was still in a lot of pain. She couldn't lose weight. She had gained an immense amount of weight. She had a lot of back pain. She had a lot of hip pain. She had pain basically systemically. It was, her whole body was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And she was crying and at her wit's end, very, very desperate, and said, I really, even if I could just get out of pain, that would be an enormous, like, I would love that so much if I could just get some pain relief.
Mm-hmm.
And so we checked, you know, the way that I would do it with the questions and everything. and the muscle testing, and what it showed me is that, and I don't have her file in front of me, so I couldn't say the specifics, but digestive issues, structural issues, her nervous system was blocked and switched, and central nervous system issues that we needed to deal with through getting the body unfrozen, the nervous system unfrozen. So it was in a freeze phase because she had some falls. And so we immediately did some craniosacral. Her body shared with me that it needed some digestive enzymes. We needed to be working with some immune challenges that were going on. So there were multiple factors that we were working on. And within 5 weeks, she was down 25 pounds.
5 weeks. Wow.
And she was down 25 pounds. And, excuse me, my computer weirded out on me. 25 pounds. The pain had subsided by over 50% within a matter of 2 weeks. And her energy levels had increased significantly within a couple weeks. Her sleep was much better, where on a scale of 1 to 10, 1's lousy, 10's great, she might have been, a pain level was about a 9. She was maybe down to like a 4 or 5. Her was probably at a 5-ish, and it was up to maybe a 7 or an 8. And her energy levels had gone up from a very low number to maybe 7 or 8 as well. And her bowel movements, which were, her body had been very constipated for a long time. Her bowel movements were improving, and she was having 1 or 2 a day, which 1 a day, most doctors would tell you is normal and healthy, which is not. It is definitely not normal or healthy. Every time you eat, you should be going to the bathroom within 30 to 45 minutes. And so, all of those factors had improved. And so she's been coming to see me since May, I believe. And she's down 45, 50 pounds now. And she's feeling phenomenal. We're still working on the things that were blocking and switching her, because it's it took her 50 something years to get where she was at. And so it took 6 months to get stable, 1 to 3 years to get well is generally what I tell my clients.
What was the first number? How long to get stable?
3 to 6 months.
3 to 6 months to get stable. 1 to 3 years to get well.
Yes.
Nice.
And but their relief is really what they're looking for. And so we can, I mean me, the information that I've obtained over the years and through intuition and God's help for sure, they're able to at least get over the pain hump very quickly, generally days to a week or 2.
And this was, you were talking about the 2 areas, toxicity and deficiency.
Yes.
Do you have a standard checklist you're muscle testing through a person's body, or is it depending on what they fill out or what they complain about is going to be different where you start?
My starting point is always the same. First, I'm checking the nervous system to see if it's blocked or switched. And then I'm checking to see if I actually check all the systems, and I'm looking for mineral deficiencies, or, if they're getting too much of a supplement, if their body, they bring in generally a bag of prescription medications or supplements. And so I want to check their body to see if it's the 4 different digestive areas. Is their body actually breaking down what they're taking? Is it breaking it down properly, or is it causing more toxicity? Is it overwhelming their system? And do they have any sensitivities to the things that they're actually taking and combining? And I go into more depth in the testing depending on what their situation is.
Got it. Are all of your clients in person?
Generally. It depends on what they're looking for, or what the body's presenting with. But the beautiful thing about the body and the system survey is that without even seeing them or using the kinesiology, then I can get a very good sense of what's going on and help them remotely. So I do coaching, either health coaching or nutrition coaching, or in many cases they simply need some life coaching.
Mhm.
They've got a lot of stress that they're not managing it because they don't know how.
Sure.
And there's a foundation of 8 different areas that I work with them in life coaching as well. So I have done the remote um, visits, and I
Mm.
can do the in-person. Obviously, I prefer in-person because I can get a deeper sense of it, and then I can
Mhm.
know within a few seconds whether they're blocked or switched. But
Mhm.
that's why I use the questionnaire as well. It's 215 questions, and then that will also tell me specifically what organ systems might be are suffering, and gives me percentages, so I know almost exactly what to be able to help them with that as well. And I do
Mhm.
that at no charge.
Got it. And are you with the kinesiology that you do in person, does that translate to working with a client remotely?
Yeah, it can. Mhm.
It can. Cool. Oh, okay. That's good to know. Um, Wendy, this has been fascinating. This is a very different look and approach than with other guests we had. So I'm very fascinated about this nutritional component that you're bringing to the table that ties in with other elements of a a holistic approach to health and especially relieving pain. Especially like your take on the tattoos and the piercings and scar tissue, on how that can play an effect or be contributing to a person's experience of what's going on in their body.
Yeah, yeah, because a lot of times food is actually the thing that is switching or blocking them and causing an issue around the scar, or it's somehow affecting that area.
Huh. Is there anything else that you would like to dig deeper on that I didn't touch on today? Um,
I think the emotional component of things is
oh,
important. Um,
uh-huh.
a lot of people don't understand that, or haven't been taught, perhaps it's that simple, that emotions create acid or alkaline in the body.
Mm,
Many times pain is from an emotional component that they have yet to be aware of or deal with. So
mhm,
they're aware of it, and they're using medications to buffer that pain, because it's so painful that they don't want to deal with it. And I find with almost all of my clients, there's an emotional component of it, especially if there's PTSD or an addiction that they're dealing with. Then the emotional side of things definitely plays a role in there. Negative emotions or feelings can actually, it's like an acid, just imagine, if you will, there's an acid pump in your body and an alkaline pump. When you have these negative emotions or feelings, it's an acid pump going on, and acid is what causes inflammation, and inflammation causing the pain. You also have this alkaline side, which neutralizes those acids that are causing the pains. So if you have a positive feeling or emotion, then it produces this alkaline response, but it takes 20 parts alkaline to neutralize 1 part acid.
mhm,
So understanding that component alone, and the neurological aspect of things, that the brain has 2 parts of their, generally speaking, just so that anyone can understand it, a thinker part and a prover part. So the conscious mind is the thinker side of it, and the subconscious mind is the prover part. So whatever
mhm,
thoughts you deposit into the, through the thinking side of things into the prover mind, its job is to prove that. So if you deposited a thought that says, I'm always in pain, I'll always be in pain, then the prover side says, okay, check, got it.
yeah, we'll
So
make that happen.
it happen for you. But if you take awareness, and take control of those thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and go into and deposit the truth side of things into the prover mind, it says, well, I thought I tried everything, but there might be something else I haven't tried. Then the prover side says, oh, well, I'll go and find that. I'll go look for that for you. And oh, lo and behold, there is something else. And
Oh,
so very alkalizing to the body. And so it's neutralizing the acid effects of the foods and the emotions and the other toxicities. And that can have a huge impact on the pain that person is experiencing just by being aware of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions and how to manage them.
So what I hear you saying, and many people will be like, well, I'm eating everything right, but I'm still having this issue. It could have nothing with their diet. It could have everything with the emotion around something in their life that is actually causing the digestive challenges that they may be having.
Yes, exactly.
Oh.
They wouldn't know that you shouldn't eat food if you're upset, because there's a lot of acid going into your guts, then into your stomach, and it doesn't break down the foods properly, because vegetables don't need acid to break down. They need alkaline to break down. So a healthy salad or a smoothie, but you're upset while you're eating it, you don't have the alkalinity to break that food down, so you're not absorbing it, and it's not being used anyway. And then it's stored as a toxin.
Wow. That's a new one. That light bulb went out for me with that. That's pretty cool.
Oh, good. Glad I can be.
Well, yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense. I've heard it before about not eating when you're emotionally upset, and how that can be how people will eat when they're emotional. And that kind of sets up the conditions in the body to have more issues, more pain, more inflammation, everything. Makes complete sense.
Good.
Cool. Wendy, thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm to help, and thanks so much for inviting me on your podcast. I've been watching them. They're really cool and very informational. I learned things too, and so I appreciate that.
Cool. Now, is something we could set up down below for a button where those that are watching that are interested in reaching out to you directly, we could set that up if that's something you're open to. We could certainly do that. And then, yes, that was it. There wasn't anything more.
Yeah, and I would like to offer any of your listeners or viewers a complimentary system survey if they're interested in doing that. It probably takes 15 or 20 minutes to fill out, but it'll give them a lot of answers to the challenges that they may be having and haven't had any solutions or root causes to. So.
Now, is the system survey something you would like them to fill out and send to you, or it's something you want them to contact you and then you could send them the survey? Which would work better for you?
They would need to contact me and I would send them the survey.
Okay.
You can just get a call and go over the results.
Okay. Because we can also set it up below the video where they can click on it, bring it out, fill it out, and then send it to you, if that would be easier. Whatever works best.
Yeah, I think maybe even give them both options, whatever works for them.
Okay, great. Well, we will set that up down below when this goes live. Wendy, it's been a pleasure. This has been great.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure for me too, Bill. I appreciate it.
So much fun. Anything else you'd like to share right before we wrap this up?
I would say that if you're having a lot of pain and you've got a lot of, you've got some perspective, get some more perspective from other people, but also look at the spiritual side of things. Faith it plays a huge component in people's healing, and I would encourage them to look at their spiritual side of their body, because we are a spirit, we live in a body, and we have a soul. So we have to make sure it's holistic from every approach. Other than that, I think that's all I've got. But thank you again for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Wendy. So this is Bill Paravano, the knee pain guru, coming to you from the Pain Education Podcast, brought to you by the Comella Foundation. Thanking you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning into this week's segment of the Pain Education Corner. Join us next week for another conversation on natural healing methods to eliminate pain. To learn more about the work we do at the Comella Foundation, please visit our website at the Comella, Comella, Foundation.org.